3 or 6 months. It wasn't that long time period it took me to get to my first million. As soon as I hit it, I was like, I'm on stride. I'm going to make it happen. And, all of a sudden it just happened. And I'll just say 6 months, because I actually do think it's 3, but I don't want to say any wrong numbers. So I think I'll just say 6 months. Less than 6 months it took me to get there. So as soon as I figured that out, I got to that in less than 6 months, but I think it's 3. And $1 million a day is my next goal. So now I was like, okay, now that I've accomplished this, now I want to do $1 million a day. I've already planned it out. I know when I'm going to do it, and I am going to make it happen. And then after that, I skipped over the month, and I went to a day. So just so you know, I want to do it in a day instead of a month. Because actually I've already done that, actually twice. So that's not hard. But the $1 million in an hour, $1 million an hour is another one, $1 million a minute is another goal that I have in the future. So just to kind of give you an idea of what my goals are. But I want to say to you that this is really, set your goals so you can have victories. And if you set them so big, sometimes it's going to feel like it's so hard to attain that you're going to feel like, man, did I really, you're not accomplishing the things that you should accomplish. So kind of throw into this here is, what are the costs for not developing the internet millionaire mindset? Just imagine looking into the eyes of your family members, maybe your parents or somebody like that, and realizing you can't get them what they want for Christmas. Or maybe you can't get them what they want for, what they want. And what I'm saying is I remember when I was sitting there and I first started doing my business, and I looked at my parents, and they wanted stuff, and they're like, I want this and I want that, and my brother wanted this, and everybody wanted something, and I couldn't get them what they wanted. All I can get them was they needed. They needed a couple. My dad needed a new tie. Whatever. My brother probably needed. I knew he was going to need some new, T-shirts and things like that. But it's all I can get them what they needed, and that really sucks. Getting people what they need. Because if you think about it, when you come down from the Christmas tree, and you're looking at the Christmas tree, and if you get everything you need, you're not going to be excited. But if you get everything you want, you're going to be the most excited person in the world. So just think about that. And another thing is one of the pieces of the story when I was a kid. When I was at the old folks' home, or at the assisted living home, I just think of that because when I was little, that's what it was. So when I was at the assisted living home, on my trip, I would always hear them. You'd hear these people, and they would tell me their stories of all the things that they wish they would have done in their life. Now, I knew wisdom came, one thing I was always taught is like older people are more wise. So I was like, when I was a kid, I'd always seek after them. And that's why I made sure that the assisted living home was the last one on my trip. And when I was delivering the papers, because then I can just sit around and talk. I didn't have to worry about it. I could just go back and I could sit around and talk. And I would sit there and I would sit around them and like a little kid, listening to their stories and all the things. And I would hear all the the thing is, I heard more disappointments than I heard, all these excited things that they had. And they would tell me, Matt, I wish I would have done this. If I was your age, and I'd hear them, if I was your age, I would have started a business. If I was your age, I would have done this. If I was your age, one of my friends, I came up with this great idea. I drew out created a blueprint of this boat. And my friend ripped it off. And now, have you ever heard of this boat? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, that was my original design. And you hear all these things. And I'm like, wow. And I would hear all the would've, could'ves, and should'ves. And one day on the way when I was driving home, or riding home, actually I had a moped too. I bought a moped, that was a good expense. So I was driving home on the way back, and I stopped at the mill. There's an old mill there in town, and I can't wait till somebody gives that up because I want to buy it. But the old mill, and I was driving by the old mill because at the old mill there's a huge waterfall. And I dropped my bike to the ground, and I went underneath the waterfall, and I promised myself that I'm never going to be like them. I said to myself, I never want to be like that. I never want to live a regretful life. I never want to regret anything. I will tell you, it cost me a little problems in high school and college because I pretty much would do anything. So there's, I don't regret the things that I've done, but I have experienced the thing I never should have experienced. But the cool thing is that, the big thing is I never want to be in a position where I would have, say that same things they were. And I'll tell you right now, if I did die, I would say that I've lived a very fun life. I would never regret anything. So, that one thing right there and making that decision was pretty huge. Now, let me show you some statistics here. Now, last year, May 2005 in the Forbes report, look at this. In May 2005, Forbes report, I had no idea there was this many billionaires. There was a total of 691 billionaires in the world. 691. I only thought there was 3. But 691 in the world. Also, get this. In India, there was 61 millionaires in India alone. I thought that was pretty cool because I actually, at the time, I didn't know where India was on the map. I've heard of it, but I just didn't know it was on the map. So I thought that was a pretty cool thing.
Is that the largest country that has the most?
No, I just picked it. Actually, that's the country that I didn't know on the thing that had a bunch. I mean, I knew of the people and stuff like that. I'm not saying anything, but also 2003. Listen to this. In 2003, almost 1,400 people a day were turning millionaires. 1,400 people a day, almost 1,400 people a day are turning or becoming millionaires. Now, my question to you is this: is there are new millionaires turning up every single day? Are you next? And if you already are one, I'm going to challenge you too, because I'm going to challenge you. If you already made your millions, I will tell you that it's still another challenge. I want to challenge you to make more. Because the more that I realize, the more money I have. When I was broke, when I go to church, I can give them $10. Now when I go to church, I can give them a lot more. I go to a big church, and I'm probably one of the bigger, donors. And I'm not saying that for anything, but I am saying that, I couldn't have helped as many people as I couldn't back then. I couldn't help as many people as I could. And putting that face mask on yourself or whatever it is, where you are in control and you have that. Oh my gosh, it's so cool, the lives and things you can change. I mean, when my book came out, you guys ever seen my book? And you guys might have seen the book that I had. But my book, when it came out, it became a #1 bestseller. I said to the publisher, I said, listen, I don't want any of the money. I said, I don't want any money come from here. All my royalty checks, what I want to do is I don't want you to write it to me. I want you to write it to Habitat Humanity. Start building houses for them because I don't want it. To this day, I still don't have collected a single dime off my book. And first 2 days, we sold over 5,600 copies. I don't even know what the count is now, but all the money goes straight to Habitat for Humanity. So, I don't even touch it. But I'll tell you, it's so cool because you can do a lot more. I mean, the more you make, the more you can give.
Do you want money? Yes, I want the money. Do you